All right, guys, it is time for my top 15 best NFL draft picks of the 2023 draft, counting it down rapid fire style from 15 to number 1 based off a number of factors, best value, players that I think are going to be really good. So let's just kick it off at number 15. I'm going to go with Cedric Tillman. So Cedric Tillman is a receiver, a bigger receiver that I think would have been picked a lot higher, possibly towards the end of the first round if he didn't get injured his final year at Tennessee. I really like what the Browns are doing. They traded up to get him. And in my opinion, Amari Cooper kind of coming towards the end of his prime. I look for both David Bell and Cedric Tillman to be a really good 1-2 punch for the Browns. Good value getting him kind of early third round with the 74th overall pick. That's coming in at number 15. At number 14, it's Keon White. This is an absolute, mammoth dude. Honestly, looks a little bit like Mike Tyson. He didn't have a very positive reaction to being drafted by the Patriots, but I believe it was just a delay. I don't know how that still happens with the draft where they'll show a guy right after he gets picked and he'll just have like a blank stare. And it's kind of funny, but this is just a typical Belichick pick. This dude very easily could have been drafted at the end of the first round. The Patriots, they always rotate players. This guy's going to get tons of pressures. He's just got a crazy good build, and he is going to be a problem. So he comes in at 14. At number 13, it's John Michael Schmitz. So this is going to be a very good stud center. The Giants get him late in the second round. This is a simple plug and play. Put him at center. Your problems are solved. He'll be solid. This pick reminds me of the Creed Humphrey pick, by the Chiefs. This dude's going to be really good. A lot of experience at Minnesota. Solid, I would say top 5 to top 10 center immediately in the NFL. You're getting a starter, late in the second round. That is really good value. At number 12, it's Josh Downs. Do we really think that Zay Flowers is this much better than Josh Downs to where Zay Flowers goes, with at pick 22 or whatever, and Josh Downs falls to 79? Both, they're both smaller receivers. They're both 5'9". I do think that's a red flag. But Josh Downs in the third round, especially kind of mid-third round, to me is great value. And he's someone that put up really good stats at North Carolina. I was really high on him until we got his official measurements. I thought he was like 5'10 and a half, 5'11. If you're 5'9, it's just very hard to be a legit, elite receiver in the NFL unless you have Tyreek Hill speed. But I still really love the value that the Colts got with Josh Downs, getting him mid-third round. At number 11, it's Paris Johnson Jr., so the reason this is here is for a number of reasons. Number 1, Paris Johnson Jr. is a stud. He's going to be a franchise left tackle. He's a really good kid. He's really smart. Just really good makeup, especially for being an offensive tackle. And number 2, the Cardinals were actually able to trade back, get more assets, get more draft capital, and still they were able to draft a franchise tackle. I know Kyler Murray wanted him. Kyler, that whole situation is kind of tough because he's injured, but he's still a pretty good quarterback. So getting Paris Johnson Jr., they've got draft capital going into next year as well. Maybe they could get Murray, a legit number 1 receiver, next year in that draft, but getting a franchise left tackle while still being able to trade down and gather more assets. That's why Paris Johnson Jr. is on my list at the number 6 overall position. He is the best offensive tackle in this class. I also do like Peter Skoronsky, but I would have Paris Johnson Jr. slightly above him. To me, he is a guaranteed stud who will be an All-Pro several times in his NFL career. At number 10, it's Jordan Addison. So Jordan Addison didn't have great measurables, but still, to me, 5'11 is big enough. He reminds me of Calvin Ridley. He's extremely smooth with the football. He's a good route runner. Is he a legitimate wide receiver one? Probably not, but he's a really, really solid number 2 wide receiver. And this is kind of almost a similar situation with Justin Jefferson, where Minnesota drafted Justin Jefferson kind of in this same spot. I think they picked him with like the 22nd, 23rd overall pick. That's exactly where Jordan Addison goes, and I love this pick over, or actually behind Zay Flowers. I was very surprised that Baltimore drafted Zay Flowers over Jordan Addison. I did not like that. I think Jordan Addison is the clear number 2 wide receiver in this class, and Minnesota got a really good one. And in the event they don't want to fork over $30 million per year to Justin Jefferson, you still do have a very solid receiver to build around in Jordan Addison. At number 9, it is Dalton Kincaid. So I got to give credit where credit is due. Buffalo finally, in my opinion, made a good pick. It seems like year after year they draft these average defensive linemen. I 100% thought they were taking Myles Murphy, and they do end up trading up one spot, kind of undercutting the Cowboys and getting the tight end with the highest ceiling. I would say Dalton Kincaid, his ceiling similar to what George Kittle is right now, elite pass catcher, and that's going to be that is a great asset for Josh Allen for sure. So Dalton Kincaid is going to be really good in that offense. And Buffalo, they finally, in the first round, they were proactive. They knew Dallas might want to take him, so they traded up right in front of them, and they snatched him. So Dalton Kincaid, one of my favorite picks. It comes in at number 9. At number 8, it's Michael Mayer. So, it's really a 1A, 1B situation with Kincaid and Mayer. I thought they both should have been first rounders, but with Mayer slipping early in the second round, the 4th pick of the second round, the Raiders end up getting him. They trade Darren Waller, and I agree with that, by the way. At some point, a dude is just too injury prone, and we're not going to rely on you if you keep getting injured every year. So Darren Waller just kept getting injured. It is what it is, but think about this. They get Michael Mayer, who was being mocked back in January inside of the top 10, top 15. This is a complete tight end. Yes, he's slower, but who really cares? I understand we like the Travis Kelce's, we like the tight ends that get 1,200 yards, but you need a stable option. You need a security blanket. That's exactly what Michael Mayer is. And this is a really good draft pick by Vegas to snatch him. Really, really good value overall. I have no clue how he dropped that far. They get him early in the second round. At number 7, it's going to be Cam Smith, who went later in the second round with the 51st overall pick. I have no clue what happened to Cam Smith. Coming into this season, Cam Smith was the number 1 overall corner, according to PFF, and I thought he had a fine year. Now, I don't know how he interviewed. Maybe he did not interview well. I don't have that information, but Cam Smith, to me, was a top 2 or 3 corner in this class. I don't know how he fell so far. He's going to be really good. 6'1", 180. That's perfect for being an elite cornerback in the NFL. And the Dolphins made a really good pick here with Cam Smith, kind of just falling through the cracks. I don't think anyone really even talked about Cam Smith. He was just not brought up at all, really, during the combine or during the draft process. But he's someone that is really good SEC play. And again, I don't really think he had a bad season. He just fell. It just felt like no one talked about him. So I think the Dolphins got a steal there. He comes in at number 7 on the best picks. At number 6, it's Joey Porter Jr. So this is another corner that fell a little bit. Now, technically, Joey Porter Jr., this would be a first-round pick, if it was a normal draft, but because the Dolphins forfeited their first-round pick, this is the first pick of the second round, and just great value for Pittsburgh. And the craziest thing is, I'm sure Pittsburgh was getting hit with some pretty nice trade offers going into day 2. They say, you know what? Yes, we can trade back. We can get a ton more picks. But Joey Porter Jr. is legit someone who probably should have went mid-first round. It's very hard to pass up on someone like that. 6'3", 193. That is a big cornerback that's going to be able to be very physical with any NFL receiver. Joey Porter Jr., getting him at the start of the second round. He was my number 2 cornerback in the entire class. So I got to say, very, very good pick there by the Steelers. At number 5, it's Will Levis. So what just a great value pick this is. But there's a few different factors at play with Will Levis. Number 1, there was a legitimate chance that Indianapolis could have just drafted Will Levis at number 4. Like, that was on the table. I think when Indianapolis didn't pick him, there was just not another team that really wanted to take a chance, so he ended up falling way further than he should have. You know, I know everyone's like, Will Levis sucks, they don't like him, but I kind of feel like Will Levis at this point might be a little bit underrated. Taking a chance on Levis early in the second round. You know, if you were to ask me, would I rather spend a number 4 overall pick on Anthony Richardson or a second round pick on Will Levis? 100%, I'll spend the second rounder on Levis, and I'll draft someone, you know, that has a much higher chance of succeeding at the number 4 overall pick. Personally, I just think Will Levis is way better value in the second round. And taking a look at a team like Tennessee, they really are in no man's land. You know, you've got Ryan Tannehill, who's very old. Malik Willis, kind of a weird pick last year. They don't really believe in him at all. He was a third rounder. The one thing that is peculiar, if you are Tennessee, why not just trade up to the last pick of the first round to get that 5th-year option on Will Levis? They probably should have done that. I'm not sure why they didn't, but still I have to applaud them. You're getting a potential franchise quarterback, a quarterback that very easily could have went inside of the top 10 at this pick. And then you're going to get all the NPC people saying, oh, his stats suck, they weren't that good. Yes, because quarterbacks are drafted mainly off their measurables. All these same people that are saying Will Levis sucks, they all said that Josh Allen sucked too at Wyoming. And they all made fun of the Bills for drafting him at 6 overall. That's just the reality of it. I'm not saying Will Levis is going to be Josh Allen, but it's the exact same type of circumstances. At number 4, I'm going to go Brian Branch. So Detroit certainly had a very tough draft, but very, very good pick with Brian Branch. You know, Swiss Army knife, safety, nickelback. 6 foot even, so that's a little bit smaller, but I do think Brian Branch is going to be a really quality player, and getting him kind of mid-second round is really good value. A lot of people thought going into that day 2, someone would trade up right at the beginning of the second round to draft him. He ends up falling that far, and Detroit, who it's really did not do well in this draft, they did make a good pick with Brian Branch. I do have to give them credit for that. Brian Branch is going to be a starter in the NFL for a solid, I would say, 6 or 7 years at least. He should have a very good NFL career. At number 3, it is JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba, falling to number 20. So JSN, to me, if he did not get injured in the first game of the season, this would be a top 8 pick with how highly valued receivers are. He just had that hamstring injury that hampered him throughout the entire season, and that's the reason he fell to pick number 20. But this is just such great value for Seattle. And not only is this a good pick in the sense of, a potential number 1 receiver going at number 20, similar to a Justin Jefferson situation. This is Seattle really being proactive and understanding that Tyler Lockett's getting older. You need to replace him. They already basically get his replacement before he even gets to be washed. That's a very, very good strategy. You're being proactive. JSN at number 20 is phenomenal value. I thought there was a high chance that JSN could have went number 12 to Houston. Obviously, they traded up to number 3, but JSN, very, very good value for Seattle there. At number 2, it's kind of a two-parter. So it's going to be the Houston Texans going all out and getting both CJ Stroud and Will Anderson back-to-back. Just an amazing move. I mean, you're getting your franchise quarterback and one of the best defensive players I've seen in the past 3 or 4 drafts. Anyone that said, guys, think about this. Think about all the dumb draft analysts that actually believed Tyree Wilson was going to go in front of Will Anderson. Will Anderson, in his sophomore season, had 34 tackles for a loss in one season. But then people said, no, Tyree Wilson is going to go in front of him. That is the most ridiculous thing. How are you a professional draft analyst if you're saying that going into draft night? But they all said that, and of course it doesn't happen. Will Anderson goes number 3. because he just put up insane stats, and he's going to be a franchise-level pass rusher. This guy's going to have 12, 13 sacks minimum a year. He's a stud. He's going to be an all-pro. C.J. Stroud is the most prototypical franchise quarterback of this draft. He has the size. He has the build. He has the arm strength. He has the accuracy. He can maneuver in the pocket. The only thing you can really say is maybe, we'll have to see, with the 18 percentile, that's not good. But it's not something to where I wouldn't draft him because of it, because, listen, I understand why Carolina picked Bryce Young, but to me, if you're going to be the same height as Kyler Murray and weigh like 20 pounds less, I mean, that is a brutal, brutal stature. And that's what Bryce Young is. So I really like C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson back-to-back there. And then at number 1, the best pick of the 2023 draft, it is Christian Gonzalez, going number 17 to the New England Patriots. Not only do the New England Patriots get Christian Gonzalez, who I thought was going to go number 6 to Detroit, they actually trade back from 14 to 17, get more assets, and still get Christian Gonzalez. And you've got a team like the Commanders drafting Emmanuel Forbes 1 pick earlier. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. But Christian Gonzalez, the Patriot way. They've also got Jack Jones, the young corner who had an unbelievable rookie season. Bill Belichick's building a really good secondary, and Gonzalez fits the mold, fits the build. 6'1", 197. He's lengthy. Really going to be a good cornerback. Very great value being able to trade back, and you still get Christian Gonzalez, who was a top 10 prospect according to most big boards. Really, really nice job by Bill Belichick. But guys, that is going to do it for this video and for the top 15 best NFL draft picks of the 2023 draft. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.